This video can seriously be the beginning of a new chapter in your life for you when you take it seriously. It's such a dangerous phenomenon and so many traps that nobody warned you about that I see people falling into, because stress is the single most important thing when it comes to your brain and body health, to focus. And it's not just, hate. Negativity is also anxiety, doubt, guilt, and all this stress. I was forced to get out of it in the past few months because I had panic attack. I saw the Charlie Kirk event and I had the same neck symptoms every day. Brutal. I thought I was gonna die. My organs were playing, my nervous system was playing games on me, and I developed 9 variants or rules, and I'm gonna give you a few extra tips at the end. And these rules are gonna get more and more complex and in-depth, more advanced basically. And I'm gonna provide you with a bunch of examples. This video is also for me, so I can rewatch it later, de-brainwash myself. For sure, stress or like negativity can work as a stick, for motivation instead of the carrot, but that's something different. In today's world, they want you separated, they want you hating. Your anxiety, your hate, your negativity, it's not yours. You basically been emotionally hacked and called it a personality. The first one is the most simple one. It's self-image fatigue. This means you see yourself as evil because of principles you got into your mind. I'll give you an example. I left school 1 month earlier because, I wanted to focus more on the business. And, I also told my mom I was getting bullied but, this was true and stuff. But it was also true the months and years before that. But I basically used that, and then I got to the doctor, and they got me out of school 1 month earlier before summer holidays. And then I met a old classmate in the bus, and they ignored me. They didn't even look at me, and I had this like weird energy of, oh, now I'm evil. I just left them. I didn't say anything. I left them just to stay at home and make more money, And this was in July. I didn't even say that on the YouTube videos back then. But you have to think about it like this. I never signed up for school, I was forced to do that. I went there for legal reasons, and my decision to withdraw from school is not an active one of me hating against anybody, I don't anything, but I didn't sign up for this, and I can leave because it, now it's my own decision basically. And you have to de-brainwash yourself from this evil mindset into really making sure that you know that you are peaceful, that you are kind, that you are striving for positivity, that you are not an evil person, that you are calm. And when you have stress and shit, also tell yourself that you are not in danger. Okay, sometimes I meditate, and it's like an extra tip, and I just go through my body and I say, my knees are fine, my head is fine, my heart is fine, my lung is fine, and I go through every body part. I say, it's fine, I'm not in danger. I could sit here all day long, nobody needs anything from me. I'm in super peace. The world could be ending, and I would be sitting here on my bed meditating. Like this kind of peace, and I don't have any obligations, and I don't owe anyone anything, Because when you start feeling guilty, you open up for manipulation, and people can start selling stuff to you. But we will get to this shame and insecurity and profiting of it later. Now, the second thing is a little bit more complex. It's communities. Don't get attached to anything that rises, because anything that comes from nowhere goes to nowhere. So don't get attached to communities, to ideas, to identities, ideologies. I see this with people getting attached to politics, for example, and now you can't think freely because your identities, you basically have to represent them, and attachment causes pain. So don't get attached, just perceive. There's no good or bad. Don't set any expectations. So what happens is that people get grouped, You either get grouped when you hate, for example, oh, now you're fatphobic or something, or you group hate. So you basically think you have to hate something because you are in a political party or a community, or you hate something just because the news say it. Just always make up your own reasons, be independent, and it's completely okay to have, opinions from different, like, political parties. It doesn't matter, really. I give you 2 examples for 2 different variants of this. The first one, a person, that I know, I came them close, and then they started a song playing, and the song was about a woman singing about her Gentiles and denying God, and I was like, what the fuck? Person never listened to such, weird downgrading songs, and I wasn't sure why the person would do that, as soon as I come close, like, is this a signal or something? And then the next day I woke up and my mind kind of processed this, in the sleep, and I looked up the lyrics, and the singer was actually very well known in the left-wing community. So it wasn't about the lyrics, and it's crazy that I actually, figured this out, but, I kind of had the sense. So you not only listen to songs you don't like just because they belong to your community, you also associate me with the right-wing community and trying to, oh, this is gonna piss him off, this song is typical for not being liked by right-wing. No, I just tell myself, this is a weird song, but I'm not attached. I can't be attacked because I'm not in this community or any other community. My opinions are not based on that. The other way around would be a guy came into our school, told a story about, he went to America as a German guy, he got called Nazi, and then he turned into a neo-Nazi because, what does he have to lose? You already call him that, and when people say something often to you, you kinda, so this hate against communities on each other also just strengthens their weakness, so if you call somebody extreme, they're gonna get more extreme, and this is gonna, always elevate itself up and escalate, and it can end very brutal, like civil wars and stuff, or pumping it more into the extreme, for example, where saying, oh, you have to feel guilty about the things people did in your country, 100 years ago. But this is not my actions. I'm not attached to the actions of my country, So by saying that, you basically say you have to feel guilty, and this can lead to an anti-reaction saying, I'm not guilty, I'm proud of it, and then people turn into a Nazi, So every hate in every form can lead to brutal outcomes, and it's not good in any way. By the way, beautiful. It's 6 a.m., bro. Word for you. Hate also comes from thinking most of the time that you don't want to be like the other person, so just make sure, that that you are not like this, and then hate automatically, retreats away. And some people are also addicted to the hate. They really need this, like, victim, and I'm the hero, and I'm the super suffering person, because also negative energy is more stimulating for the brain, but also, they need an enemy, they need excuses. The third thing is friend groups and word of mouth. This can be hate implied in conversation. For example, people start behaving fakely stressed, of this, oh, I'm so busy, oh, life is so stressed, just realize that being stressed, being aggressive, being negative is nothing grown up, nothing professional, nothing cool, you can be completely calm, completely positive. There's nothing wrong with that and nothing unnatural with that. And there can just be implied hate or negativity, or something is bad, like, oh, dude, I worked 8 hours yesterday. Bro, you got the opportunity to work 8 hours yesterday. Be grateful and always ask yourself, why is this bad? Why do we talk about this badly? And then most of the time you realize that it's not even bad. It's just a social construct of your emotion. And now an actually super cool trick that you're gonna find so often in this world. It's the vaccination trick when it comes to arguments. And you're gonna see this in your friend group, but also on the internet very often. Bro, it's just beautiful out here, bro. So you're gonna see this very often. And basically what this is, you vaccinate the other side with weak argument, with weak reasons. For example, if you want to convince someone that money is evil, you're just gonna say something like, no, I think Jeff Bezos needs all of his money. He needs all of the 300 million he has. If you would lose 1 billion, he would suffer greatly. And then this is an extreme version, but then the other side would say, oh, no, that's complete bullshit. You wouldn't even notice. And then you get the other person to have a certain opinion, just by bringing up a weak argument. Friends groups, and especially as manipulation on the internet. So you invite someone into a podcast that you think is super weak from the other side, and then you basically associate the other side with weak reasons and stupidity, So this is just the most common thing out there. Now we slowly get into the dangerous things. Number 4 is projected hate. And this is when hate is projected from one person to another, because if you are living evil or aggressive, you have dark thoughts, then you most of the time project it into others people's statements and actions. He did that because he doesn't like me. He did that because he's aggressive. Or when you do make a statement, it's always about putting the guilt into someone. He is guilty, even though your statement was just productivity. It was just getting closer to a solution, Or you must be so mad, when somebody did something to you and, you have done nothing wrong, but then they tell you, you must be so mad right now at me. You must be so mad. So not only they done something to you, but now you also have to suffer from negative emotions. So don't get brainwashed to this projected hate of, oh, you must be so mad at me right now. He never likes this. I think this triggered him. It was in school for me like this, for example. I was sitting on the toilet, I was reading my book in the break because the toilet was the only safe place, lucky. And then they even found me my secret place in the toilet, and then they always poured water over the fence on the toilet, and I was reading my book, so the book was completely just done with water and stuff. It was a complete wave of water. And then, they laughed and shit, he must be so triggered right now. And I laughed with them, and I was just, it's my perspective. It's where you shift your focus. It's the things you perceive and how you perceive them. And I treated them with the most unconditional love, and I of course got better over that in the last few months of just seeing something so contradicting and then just being like, they are humans, they have good intentions too, they also suffered from things, So really, if it's not important, then just do not defend yourself when you are stated wrong, when you are out of context. If people want to misunderstand you, if you're just being misunderstood because you're ignored or whatever, then that's their decision, If you call me asshole, that's your weird little perspective. So if you are near a community you don't like or something, you're not attached and you're not associated with them, you don't have to defend yourself, you don't owe anyone hate, it's your decision, like, oh, now you have to hate them. You can just be positive, you can just forgive or just don't even mind, It does not interact with your life, your frequency, whatsoever. You can just be free. Just know you are striving for positivity, and when you truly believe you do something with the best intention, for example, capitalism, I think capitalism, or like a variant close to it, again, not attached, but the idea of itself, just maybe a social aspect of security from the state, but I believe capitalism is good, and if you get as rich as possible and just make as much money as possible, you basically have the circulation and everybody gets what they want, even if you behave egoistically. Not good if the state transfers money around, because it's just gonna cause inflation and stuff. So this is what I believe, and I believe the best thing I can do for the universe is actually to make more money. Okay, to make more money, to have money, because I can then spend more, it's more in circulation, I can build more, the system grows, everybody profits. Everybody has a fair chance, I'm not doing any harm, and then there's people saying, oh, that's evil, that's evil, that's evil. But if you truly believe that it's good, then again, you have to have your reasons and stuff. And there's also, people saying, okay, kill the billionaires. That's brutal. I heard that with persons close to me, and as soon as I hear killing or dying, especially on social media and stuff, it's the lowest frequency, like it's super brutal. Like I had panic attacks, I was saying my goodbyes, and it's nothing good. And most of the time when people say that, that's what they would do with the money, Number 5 is the victim mentality. Everybody knows it. I put it on another level because I'm saying you're already living your dream life. You're just not dreaming the right way. So you are maybe you love that feeling of being the victim of everything is stressed, every problem is world ending. It's not, bro. Just make yourself, if you have like these victims around you, just make sure. And in school there are loads of them. Just make sure, no, this is not a problem. No, the world is still fine. Everything is super stressed, and and others are the problem. It says something about their perspective. Don't take it personally. It's just their way of living life, and at some point you have to realize that you're not the problem. Like if somebody gives you a critique and you're like, okay, I'm gonna adjust to that, and then they're gonna critique you again, okay, but then if they keep doing it, and you're already like super helpful in that conversation or in these actions, then sometimes you just have to realize that you're not the problem. There will always be bad actors, rich and poor, left and right, whatever it is. You don't have to find someone guilty or just accept it. And people also, they blame the system and stuff because they don't trust it, obvious. But you're not a rebellion to the system by spreading hate. That's exactly what the system wants. Not like there are some people, they're just cursing about everything. It's always like natural way of speaking. Every second sentence, like fuck it and you have all this negativity. No matter how fucked the situation is, at least be positive. Because at the end, if it doesn't work out, at least you can say, I stayed positive, I embraced it, and see every mistake you make as a learning experience. For example, bro, I was like in August, I was so pissed. I gambled away 1,000 euros. And then I was looking for a partner. I saw this homeless guy on the street, and I was like, fuck, bro. I was thinking about how this 1K would change his life, and I just gambled it away, bro. And I was like, fuck, what the fuck am I doing? This is like the lesson for me, okay? Like, bro, you have to watch the scale of the monetary actions you do. And then, of course, there are also like questions. Hate just formulated in different ways, and like a little bit hidden hate and stuff. You just have to realize the bullshit and ignore it, And now the next one is the most brutal and hidden one, or like it's gonna get a little bit more advanced, but this is already like super advanced. It's number 6 is engineered hate, and this is probably one you guys are all gonna like the most. Because, for example, bro, if you scroll on TikTok, right? TikTok makes money by advertisings, and advertisings convert higher when you are emotionally floating. So what TikTok does, and you can check this, they make like a happy emotion video, 5 videos later super sad, then again happy, and your emotions go up and down, and you're just easier to manipulate. But also there's engineered hate in the sense of, there are, for example, these filters, where people rank political parties. It was in Germany this year, bro. Like, this is the most engineered hate you can get. You basically rank political parties with their image. You don't say anything to that, you just rank them. This screams rage in the comments and stuff. Just because you don't have any context, you don't actually discuss, it's just hate, Like, this is super engineered. You see this and you're like, this guy is an idiot. He just puts that party on top and this party on the bottom, and with no reasons, And there's also, of course, engineered hate from the media. The media machines are super fast in putting out the same narrative. There's, of course, also music, Spotify, whatever, music that normalizes violence and stuff. It just gets into your brain, and sometimes the algorithm also, pushes a certain narrative of hate, certain groups of people. I think we saw that in the past half year. I realized that on Discord especially, were more hating towards a certain group, because on the algorithm it was popping off and stuff. And again, you have to realize, bro, you are also being trapped, you're being played, bro. You're being distracted. The people that engineer this, if the people that control the world, they are not putting themselves in the news. They are not putting themselves in the social media. So if you think, oh, you found the evil master of the game, he is not on TikTok and he does not go viral. You're just being distracted. This can be also the melody of the music, or, it doesn't even have to be the song tag. And there are so many traps, social media, and people also trying to get you into guilt, into hate. And I was seeing while I was writing the script for this video, my bullet points, I was seeing on the street someone painted overthrow capitalism. And usually I would have thought about this for 10 minutes, but you just have to let go, just focus on making your impact, and the world is full of contradictions, you can't, don't be attached, be free, don't try to fix everything, The best one is probably giving people the perfect opportunity to do a hateful joke or stuff, just you give them a setup in the video or in the news. I see this, some accounts are just posting Instagram photos of perfect setups, what has 2 arms and 2 legs and no brain, and then people can instantly like write any politician, any person they don't like, and like it's just, and the people fall for it in the comments. They're like, oh, I know a politician and stuff. Like, bro, you're so stupid. Like, really, you're wasting your energy, bro. This is also true when people tell you, oh, you never do this, you never when you enter the school, you're always looking angry and stuff, and then you're gonna get into that identity of being someone angry. You don't just be happy anyways and ignore it. Like, it's like super weird, and your insights basically lead to that behavior. And you can also see that I'm getting into trouble for saying that, but who profit from hate? For example, farmer. Like, most of the companies profit from it. But for example, you call somebody fat, they start feeling insecure. Shame leads to being open for manipulation. Oh, you're not fat, you're just in the wrong body, a cut off your and then who makes the profit? It's farmer. So by participating in this hate, you are part of a very big business model. So basically, for example, you see in the news, controlled by very wealthy people, they are shooting against each other. That makes it look like, wealthy people are evil. Or, by saying, wealthy people are evil, you're getting blocked from being wealthy. So it's super easy, splitting the civilization and causing more hate, causing more openness for manipulation, for get killed. And the easiest way to manipulate someone to do something is just put it into their identity. If the news tell from now on that everybody who considers themselves a right wing should eat, I don't know, 10 carrots a day for their nation or whatever. It's the easiest way to change someone's behavior is just adapt their identity. People are so attached to their identity. It's really a prison. Just say things once, just perceive. You're just perceiving, you're not, like, it's like third person. That gives me, that goes now to the point number 8, and this is the most brutal one that can kill all your success basically, and it's environmental hate. So you have this environment. This can be at home, this can be in a school, this can be at work, wherever that is for you, and it's energy of nothing matters. Like, I'm gonna burp you in the face, I'm gonna fart, like you're worthless, and like everything sucks anyways, just give up, and everything's so low and tired and low frequency. And you really have to think about, okay, and I have good momentum, I'm positive, I'm grateful for my life, I'm in good energy, and I'm gonna crush it, I'm gonna have so much success, I'm seeing the vision, and I have positive things ahead of me. So don't get into this basically low frequency of working and stuff. It's this energy of, oh, I can do and say whatever I want, I don't have like anything going, I'm just gonna, I don't know, eat my feelings, and we are all losers. You have to really think about, I don't count myself into that. I was, for example, when you're at school and it's just super, the school group is hating on somebody others in the class, like, bro, just don't count yourself into that. Just be the peaceful weird guy, because also some people want to be weird, they want to make weird sounds, say weird things, they need that dopamine or like something special in their life, and just don't you're not attached. It's their reality, reflecting their reality, their expectations and whatever. And I really want to explain the mindset that I have right now to you. So if something is like weird and stuff, and everything is chaotic, and you would call it bad, or I would start being like, what the fuck is this? I'm just observing, I'm just perceiving, and I'm like, okay, interesting, and now I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, just the best thing that I can do. And like, I'm not like any social construct. I'm not thinking, oh, this is bad, oh, this is good. So I'm basically blocking all this like fight for your opinion stuff. And if you say something weird, like I'm still gonna be like, okay, I'm still respecting you. That nothing changes for me. No social tension in my mind. I'm the most positive, kind, and calm person, and I don't need to say anything to your stuff, and I don't need to feel a certain way. I'm completely abandoned, and I'm not like, even I can't speak for everybody. I'm just speaking for myself. I don't know about Jeff Bezos or who the fuck ever, bro. Like, I wanna make more money. I know I'm not gonna make evil things with my money, and I don't plan on doing anything evil. And I'm not, I'm not attached to defending, because it means providing value in a certain way. And the problem is also, of course, people with lower attention span, higher dopamine baselines are more addicted to negativity, because when you consume negativity all day, social media or whatever, you also put out more negativity. Now we got one more normal one and then two more spicy ones and some tips at the end. So now is reaction hate. This is like the most common one probably you have in conversations. You have to really realize when the conversation shifts from asking normal questions to acquisitions and hate. And you still have to handle it positively, and I've improved so much in the last few months with this, where, I got them like the most hateful rage and shit, and I was super positive. And if someone disrespects you and stuff, you are not in war with them. You can just love unconditionally. You don't owe any hate, as said previously. So it's really important for you to not get on that frequency and really not anything in that direction, because there's also these tricks of like implying you did something wrong. And also stay really positive, not like this, haha, I'm gonna smile. I really mean like stay truly positive from the inside too. And then it's also like this, aggressive, like hitting and stuff. You just, at some point you have to ignore it. A very important one that I see many people falling for is looking down will get you down, the last one. So basically it puts you on that frequency. Oh, I'm better than him, or I don't want to be like this and stuff. You're already attaching your mind. Your mind can't see the difference between not doing and doing, and by always perceiving these behaviors, you kind of get into that. So don't look down on anybody, just perceive that person. Now some golden nugget tips. The first one is no caloric excess, so you can be caloric deficit or on maintenance. Being on a surplus with your calories will lead to a hormone imbalance that can cause, after only 2 or 3 weeks of eating more calories, your brain has some bad effects on your mood and on your other stuff. The second one is obviously nature, and also lifting, some weights, not only like cardio, good, but you also need cardio. You need a high frequency cardio for your heart rate to go a bit more up. Intermediate fasting is super important. It will do some hormone switches that will relieve anxiety, especially if you do 18 or 20 hours. Obviously praying, the most like anxiety controlling thing you can possibly do. I always did that, especially when my panic attacks were at the peak. And then also meditation, I already told you about that. If you just work a lot, grind, you don't even have time for negativity, like I don't want to waste my energy on that. And that's also how I looked at it while I was in school. I was like, bro, why would I waste my time to school director or telling them or fighting with them? Like, bro, I need my energy at home every working hour, can't spend my time on that. Cold water, cold exposure can really help. Stretching, there's this psoas muscle in your hips, basically. When you stretch that, there's where most of the stress started. Say that you want everybody positive, just to deep brainwash yourself, and also do not remind yourself of panic attacks if you have one. Also tell other people, they shouldn't ask you like, oh, are you fine now? Other stuff reminding you of any sort of anxiety, any sort of, you just have to completely block it, present in a moment with your left brain side, not only the right side of like anticipating danger, or just anticipating your next few minutes and stuff, or like calculating, the left side is for being present, just experiencing, feeling, and that's the one with the low cortisol. So, and also there's like a trick that can also turn into a trap. Some people, for example, if you act like fake stressed and fake busy, like you always, then you're signaling to your body that you are stressed by doing internal things. So how you can use that to your advantage is basically, if you are not feeling good, you can smile, and that way you signal to your body that you're happy. You signal to your mind that you are fine. Have so much more longevity and health in your life. I really would appreciate if you share this video to somebody that would help this. Now here you see on the side a video that you could watch too from my channel. Maybe that's helpful too. If you watch this to the end, probably you found this helpful. Check it out and see you.